Hello, welcome back. It is now time for Media Watch France. Our look at what's going on in the media world here in France. For that, I'm joined as ever by James Creedon.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi there, James. So we're going to start off with this Tobin Tax idea that Nicolas Sarkozy, for one, has been pushing very hard.
That's right. It's the big news story in France today, I suppose, Catherine, and it's on the front page of Le Monde, which comes out in the afternoon. The Tobin tax that Sarkozy wants to bring in. And it has left the French media a little bit perplexed because this is not a position that Sarkozy has always held. The idea is to tax international financial transactions, and that is often seen as a sort of anti-globalization movement bid. You know, that's what they would be calling for. So if we have a look online here, the Tobin tax that what Le Monde did this afternoon is they organised a web chat along with ATTAC. Now, ATTAC is an anti-globalization organisation in France. So one of their co-founders was involved in this chat this afternoon, and what they're saying here is Nicolas Sarkozy and ATTAC, do they actually have the same fight, or is it, you know, the same combat, which is a bit bizarre.
Well, I didn't see him in the anti-globalization role
Certainly
myself.
Not. He's not out there waving flags for anti-globalization. It's also left the left-wing politicians in France very confused. The socialists actually think that this is bluff. It amounts to electioneering in the run-up to the presidential election next year, that he won't actually go through with it. A lot of people on Twitter are saying exactly the same thing. A ridiculous bluff, this particular internet user says. And as for journalists, if we have a look at what Christophe Barbier on the L'Express website is saying, he thinks that this would have been actually a pretty good thing to introduce back in 2007, 2008 when the financial crisis began, but that it's too late now. And in fact, the fact that the presidential election is underway pollutes this initiative, they are his words, and it introduces doubt as to its sincerity. So there you go. A lot of people saying, Sarkozy, we don't really believe you, and this is not very consistent with your past policies.
Okay, well, they are calling his bluff there.
Right, exactly.
And moving on to other news now, a video game, I believe you've got for us now, where the French are the baddies.
That's right. You wouldn't often see the French in the baddies role, in video games at least. But in Vietnam they are, because of course the French were the colonial masters back in the day in Vietnam. So here it is. The game is called 7554, and that is the date, set in the 7th of May 1954, when the Vietnam's communists defeated the French army. So you have basically what they call the Baudois, the heroes, the Vietnamese soldiers, and the aim is to kill as many Frenchies as you can.
Where are the French soldiers? How can we tell?
Well, I think we might see what that. I think basically anyone who's been killed is basically a Frenchie. It's very anti-French, the whole concept is. And one French journalist on the Marianne website, that's a left-leaning website here in France, says that this is yet another example of how the global power base is shifting eastwards in favour of Asia. I think he might be exaggerating a little, but his point is the baddies in video games up until recently were Russians, Germans, not that that's very Eastern, they're very much in the West.
Yeah, not to Strasbourg.
Right, exactly. Islamic fundamentalists, etc. And the inference was that the goodies are Americans and, I suppose, Westerners. No longer the case. The French are the baddies in this Vietnamese video game.
Okay, well, that's coming out soon then. And meanwhile, there's a new French social networking site with a twist. Explain that one to us.
Right, it's all about pets. It's all about dogs and cats and
French
reptiles.
very much into their domestic animals, we should point out for viewers. Dogs very important here in France.
Fluffy and pampered dogs around Paris, it must be said. So the French media are talking about that quite a bit. You can see it on this website, West France. And here it is. And so you can see a monkey there monkeying around with a laptop.
As
and
you do. Excellent.
The slogan is, create a profile of your animals, join the community and make new friends. Now, I don't know, do they mean make friends with the pet or make friend with the pet's owner? Or it could be a sort of a dating website.
One big community, James,
it really
I
is,
imagine.
Of cat lovers, dog lovers, and indeed the cats and dogs themselves. And that's the whole point, that they get a profile for themselves. So what you can do is like their photos, or actually you can,
that's a nice one.
You can also say that they're not very cute, which I think is a bit unfair. It would be like introducing a not like option on Facebook or
it does
Facebook
seem
profiles.
Rather negative.
It could lead to all sorts of troubles. This is Kiki and Kiki's grimaces, and you're able to like or not like that, and I suppose like or not like the cat's owner as well, by extension, you might say.
Okay, well, so that's the modern day equivalent of meeting other dog owners when you're out on a walk, I guess. Right. Moving on now, former French President Jacques Chirac has had a street named after him in Ramallah in the West Bank, hasn't he?
That's right. Now, the whole idea is it's a centenary of Ramallah city, and they have renamed 420 different streets across Ramallah after many different luminaries across the ages, such as Shakespeare, Aragon, Newton, etc. But Jacques Chirac has had a street named after him. Jacques, he was often perceived as being in favour of the Palestinian Authority and various, that he was a friend to the Palestinians, you could say. So let's have a look at the street sign, Jacques Chirac Street.
Yes, it's not Jacques, it's
That's
Jack.
right. Now, I think he might view that as a bit of an insult
spelling.
because he was very well known as a president of France for defending the French language around the world. And here he's done, well, look at what they've done. They've anglicised his first name, which not even the British or the Americans or English-speaking countries would ever have done. You always see him as Jacques Chirac on headlines. And here in Ramallah, he's Jack. So I'm actually not sure if they would appreciate that myself.
Well, it's still not bad to have a street named after oneself, I imagine. But yes,
so.
Slightly controversial spelling there. Right, thanks very much indeed, James
Thanks,
Creed,
Steph.
and they're bringing us that Media Watch France. It's time now to take a look at what's been making a buzz on the internet. It's Web News.